Daniel Ricciardo had very great days when he raced for the Red Bull racing team in Formula 1 from 2014 to 2018. During his tenure with the team, he achieved 7 victories. But then, after having 2 difficult seasons with McLaren, Daniel Ricciardo returned to Red Bull as the 3rd reserve driver. There have been discussions about a possible return to a full-time racing seat in the future, potentially with AlphaTauri, depending on Red Bull's evaluation of their junior drivers. So it's very twisty for Ricciardo. What are the possibilities for his career, and how much is Red Bull excited about his performance? Let's check it out in today's video. The 33-year-old Australian Daniel Ricciardo has rejoined Red Bull after having 2 worst years at McLaren. Christian Horner praised Daniel Ricciardo's performance and mentioned that he has rediscovered his mojo. He said, "When Ricciardo signed the 3rd driver contract, he was unrecognizable from the driver who left in 2018. He is now extremely competitive." He stated that the initial step would be to assess Daniel Ricciardo's performance and motivation, and subsequently, it would be up to AlphaTauri to determine their selections for the upcoming season. Now, to consider the situation, we must take into account Perez's slump performance. It also can be a possible reason for Ricciardo to get back to his position as a top-level driver at Red Bull. Perez has experienced inconsistent results since the early part of the 2023 season, where he scored 2 wins in the first 4 races, but then faced a downward spiral in the following races. This inconsistency has prevented him from being a consistent title contender. Perez has struggled in qualifying, particularly in comparison to his teammate Max Verstappen. In the recent Austrian Grand Prix qualifying, Max Verstappen claimed the pole position, while Perez failed to advance to Q3. Perez's struggles in qualifying have been ongoing, as he has now gone 3 races in a row without progressing to Q3. Perez's recent poor performances and struggles have led to a decline in his position in the Formula 1 power rankings. To make matters worse, it's confirmed that Perez's car did not have any issues. Christian Horner expressed his frustration regarding Sergio Perez's lap deletion in Q2 at the Austrian Grand Prix. Horner mentioned that Perez seemed visibly frustrated on the pit wall, and although they hadn't spoken yet, Horner believed Perez had the pace and the car capable of securing a top position. However, Perez failed to stay within the white lines, leading to 3 strikes and the deletion of his lap. Horner found it hugely frustrating because Perez could have achieved a better result. Despite Perez receiving a clear message about staying within the track limits, he still asked if he could go again, indicating a possible lack of understanding. Horner discussed the pressure Perez puts on himself and the potential open seats in the Red Bull family. Dr. Helmut Marko is also continuously slamming Perez for his bad performance. Marko, the Red Bull team advisor, asked Perez to stop dreaming about winning the F1 World Championship and focus on putting in consistent performances, avoiding unnecessary mistakes in recent Grand Prix events. He also indicated the possible replacement of Perez. This is affecting Red Bull. Other teams are now much more confident in competing with Red Bull. Aston Martin has stated that they can now compete with Red Bull in terms of gathering data from wind tunnels. Toto Wolff also mentioned that in the second half of the season, the gap with Red Bull will be significantly reduced. This means that both teams will have drivers who will constantly challenge Verstappen and bring out his best performance. However, this could pose a problem for Verstappen since his teammate is not performing well. Even if Perez was performing at his best, he wouldn't support Verstappen in winning another championship, as seen in the races he won this year in Jeddah and Baku. This is likely one of the reasons why Red Bull is so excited about returning Ricciardo, because they want to wait for their young drivers to show their potential before deciding who will be Max Verstappen's teammate. Horner explained that currently, the most challenging situation for an F1 driver would be having Max Verstappen as their teammate. Let's be honest, competing against someone with extraordinary talent like Max is like going up against a driver who emerges once every 10 years in terms of skill and ability. Ricciardo is also very excited as he showed his attitude to retire with Red Bull. One of the reasons is there aren't many open spots for Ricciardo in other teams because Mercedes and Ferrari have already confirmed their drivers until 2024, and Mercedes is still in contract negotiations with Hamilton. Ricciardo wanted to continue racing with a competitive team and didn't consider options with teams lower down the grid. He aimed to stay relevant in the sport and keep the door open for opportunities with top teams. Ricciardo set a fairy tale ending of his F1 career to being retired at Red Bull. This for me would be like the fairy tale. Honestly, the fairy tale ending would be to finish my career here in Red Bull, if I could have it my way. But we'll see. I'd probably have to work my way up a little bit, but it's really nice to be here. It would be logical for Ricciardo to return to AlphaTauri, as De Vries has been under scrutiny due to a lack of competitiveness since his full-time debut in Bahrain earlier this year. Despite his impressive performance in Monaco in 2022, where he managed to adapt to a new car within a short period of time, starting an F1 career at the age of 26 can be quite challenging. De Vries' current struggles in a Red Bull sister team highlight this difficulty. There have been rumors about his potential replacement on the team. Marco also warned De Vries to improve his performance as soon as possible, otherwise he will be replaced. Now it's confirmed that Ricciardo can be a possible choice. In the future, there are drivers in the Red Bull Academy like Aya Muawasa, Dennis Hager and Liam Lawson who want to show they're as talented as Verstappen. But it might take a long time for them to be ready. And during that uncertain period, Red Bull could consider bringing back Ricciardo, a driver who faced unexpected challenges that no one anticipated. Now going back to Perez's performance. He is very uncomfortable with the car and his poor pace. At the beginning of 2023, he was thinking that he has a car that will match his skill set. In the first couple of races, it was very obvious from his performance, but later on, things started going differently. Talking about his performance, he mentioned that his performance was unexpected as they lacked pace. He emphasized the importance of analyzing the entire weekend, since their speed throughout the race has been consistently poor, and they need to find a solution. He admitted that they faced significant difficulties, especially due to an unfortunate safety car intervention that happened at an unfavorable time for their team. Perez acknowledged their current lack of luck but accepted the situation as it is. He personally struggled with braking and expressed dissatisfaction with the overall ride quality. Perez asked Red Bull to investigate his problems and find out what's going on, but it's unlikely the team will do so because both cars are identical. This means Perez might have to face the reality that he won't be able to compete for the championship this season. The best outcome he can hope for is second place. After the Canadian Grand Prix, where Alonso was just 9 points away from Perez, Alonso sent a confident warning to Sergio Perez. In the post-race interview, he was asked if he thinks he can fight with Perez, and he confidently replied yes. Christian Horner mentioned that the problems Sergio Perez faced with his tires cannot be resolved by making changes to the car. It was simply a matter of him lacking speed, which raises the important question: will Perez continue with Red Bull considering his struggles in 3 consecutive races? Something that is very clear about Perez's worst performance is that he doesn't have the support of his teammate Verstappen. Verstappen also criticized his performance by saying that Verstappen has also criticized his teammate. He said, "Pace is none of his concern, and although he would feel bad if he was in his place, that's nothing he has to deal with right now." It is now apparent that Marco, Horner, and Verstappen are all very frustrated by Perez's performance, and this season can be the ending days for Perez. For now, Horner states that the team has no plans to remove the 33-year-old from his position. But if Perez won't improve his performance, he will be replaced, and Daniel Ricciardo is a strong possibility for Red Bull. But the decision isn't final yet. Will Red Bull give Daniel Ricciardo a chance to achieve his desired fairy tale ending? Share your views in the comments and subscribe to the channel to watch more updates.